Good afternoon, and welcome to our little kind of last minute impromptu webinar here, where we're going to talk about three new tests that we are launching at Reveal My DNA. It's actually a very exciting day. Few announcements to make, and I know that most of you had said that you can't attend this live in person, but we are going to be sending this out to everyone as well, so it's recorded. This will be short. This is like a 15 to 20 minute, more of kind of an announcement webinar. But here, if anyone has any questions that possibly comes in. So my name is Chris Lippe. I am the founder and currently run Reveal My DNA. And as we move forward here, we've got some really exciting things happening. And that's why we're here today to tell you about a couple of new things, one announcement, but then also something that impacts you as a practitioner, that we're going to be expanding our choices of tests that you will be able to run. Our current comprehensive tests, we're going to be adding 3 new tests now, and then we have 2 slated for the first quarter of next year. But before I get started into the details of that, there is kind of a reason why this is happening, and that is about 6 months or so ago, I was approached by a group that runs another genetic firm and loves our test and our platform and so forth. We are going to be merging with that company. Everything will stay exactly the same for you. You won't notice a thing from as a standpoint of Reveal My DNA, same login sites, all of that sort of thing. It's just going to give us the opportunity to give you other tests that you can run with your patient base. It's really exciting because 3 of them will be similar that I'll go through here in a few minutes, and then 2 will be completely different as in an epigenetic state. And I'll touch on those as well as we get near the end of this. But like I said, when I first opened up, this will be a brief webinar, probably about 15 minutes, maybe 20 at the most, unless there's lots of questions. Don't expect that. I think it's more of a thing right now that we're kind of making this announcement that we are going to be merging with another company here at the end of this month. The process has already started. So if you've had representatives, they're going to still be doing some work with us in possibly different capacities. Could be that they are going to be doing maybe lead generation work or marketing or part of our education department. We've currently have had Ben Viola running our education department. He will continue to do that, but have 2 other people that join him in that capacity in the education department as we do some specific training with different product lines that you all may be using. Everyone kind of knows our comprehensive test. This is a little sales sheet that you have. And again, just really quick, everyone, you're going to get a recording of this. And also you will get the PDFs of these handouts that I'm showing you. So that'll go out tomorrow morning, possibly later tonight, but most likely tomorrow morning. And you can use these for marketing. You can print them off. They're in color and use them as marketing in your practice as well. So everyone knows about our comprehensive test. This is the test that we've been doing for the past 18 months. We currently have, I think, about 580 physicians, chiropractors, nutritionists using our test on a regular basis throughout the United States. And this is that test that you've been ordering. It's 92 genes, 112 SNPs. It covers 8 primary areas of health or categories of health, from digestion and energy to hormones, DNA repair, etc. And there's a lot about this test that people really, really like. And it gives you a very broad look at the overall health of your particular client or patient. By looking at those 92 genes, 112 SNPs, it's $295 to a practitioner for your pricing. And then you can charge anything you'd like from there when you're using our test. And it gives you a great snapshot to build protocols or give dietary recommendations to your clients and or patients. And again, very simple process in registering tests, etc. As we go through this particular test, this will stay exactly the same. Nothing is changing. This is there. You can register your kits in doing this test. and get a beautiful blueprint for that overall person. Now, moving forward, we're going to introduce 3 new tests. The exact date we don't have. We're still working through that with our lab. We did do some beta work and we're very close. The test is running perfectly. It's the mirroring of the report that we still need to work on. I would say we're probably 10 to 15 days away from having the 3 other tests ready for you. But I want to go through them today so that you understand what else you'll have as far as an option to run with your patient, as well as some of the pricing that you'll have with them. So the next test that we have that we'll talk about is going to be a precision as opposed to comprehensive. We'll describe that here in a moment, but a precision longevity test. With this particular test, you'll have more in the range of 15 to 18 genes, right around 17 is the number that's set, with about 23 SNPs. And you'll go much deeper in looking at longevity. There are a couple of primary genes that we'll look at, one of them being FOXO3, which is a really nice part of this longevity that takes into account everything from looking at cardiovascular to mental health, etc. So you've got quite a few things. FOXO3, superoxide dismutase is looked at, APOE is looked at in this, so is MTHFR. And as our primary genes up top, what gets to the depth of this is the quality of our test versus a retail lab that you might find from other organizations out there. The depth of that test is how much spin rate are we doing with the actual DNA material to separate out the proteins to get to the DNA particles that we want to look at. And so the depth of that is how much and how long that spins for gives us a different depth. So we do that with the genes. We also do that with the SNPs to see specifically what is going to be supportive to that particular gene. Say, for example, that we're maybe looking at MTHFR within the methylation realm. We might want to look at, SNP 677 or 1298, and it'll go deeper and it'll look at maybe 5 or 6 of those supporting SNPs so that you get a very accurate and reliable result that you can work with your particular client and or patient. Same sort of thing with APOE, superoxide dismutase, etc. We go much deeper rather than in our comprehensive test, which is broader, 92 genes. We'll go 1 or 2 SNPs supportive underneath that. So still think of that as a great way to get a diet plan and get general overall health. But if you want to do a very specific test, such as longevity or the other 2 that we'll talk about in a moment, you can go directly in and order this if you would like. There will be a little bit of crossover into the comprehensive test, but it will not have the depth that you would have within these particular tests. The longevity and then the methylation and the detoxification panels that we'll have available will also be priced less than the comprehensive broader test. These tests to you as a practitioner will be $229 rather than $295. And again, you can mark those up as much as you like, $50, $100, $300, whatever you value into your particular model in your practice. So this is the longevity report. The next report that we have, I believe we have listed as our methylation report. I have a feeling this will be very popular. There is a lot of talk online around methylation, specifically with some gentlemen out of 10X Health and so forth that are talking a lot about methylation. This touches on the exact same 5 primary genes that are used within Gary Brecka's work, as well as we've gone in and added 1 other to that core, making it 6. But then additionally, what we do is we add in 16 other SNPs and 5 other genes that are supportive of those 5. So you get a much more robust um, test result from this, and it will also be priced at $229, which is to you as a practitioner is a great price when the market out there is primarily selling this test at $595. So it gives you a lot of range to sell this maybe at, $300 and make a little bit, but then also have supplements or interpretation that you charge on top of that. Um, Again, I think this will be a very popular test. There's a lot of talk, and you get lots of advertisements, I'm sure, about methylation. This goes into extreme detail around methylation, and you can see the markers that are there that are set as those primary core ones are listed on the genes on the left: MTHFR, PEMT, MTR, also in the methylation pathway. CBS primarily falls into cardiovascular, but looks at homocysteine and the importance there as well. CBS, COMT, the strategist warrior gene that a lot of people also talk about, and then AHCY. Again, I think this is going to be really popular. This will be something you'll probably want to kind of market front and center in your practice. And like I said, I think this will be a unique option for you. The third test that we're adding at this time is a detoxification panel. And this one came about actually kind of as an afterthought. We work with many different supplement companies, and a lot of them asked for something that they could use that would look at the pathways around detoxification, P50, P450, et cetera. And what can we do to kind of work within that detoxification area, not just looking at methylation. So what has been done here is looked both at phase 1 and phase 2, and I went to our researchers and asked them to pull together as much as they could, looking at the different enzymes that work within toxins in the body, both in phase 1 and phase 2. And so we've come up with quite a few here. CYP is the primary, but then there's lots of different RSID numbers, or the actual SNP that would be supported under CYP. And then also we're going to look at NAT as well as SOD, superoxide dismutase, GSTP1 and M1 are both going to be in there. So those are looking at phase 2 detoxification. And as I said, it kind of came about because so many of these practitioners, so many of you guys are utilizing purification or detoxification programs. This is a great fit to kind of help show your client or patient, hey, this is what we're working on and this is what you're facing, because maybe you have a variation or a bit of malfunction at this particular point, and this is why we're doing it. So I think it shows a bit more trust to that person looking to come in when they're doing a purification and or cleanse type program with you. So we think this will also be really popular. We weren't going to launch this until next year, but we had quite a few people asking about this because of the January cleanse time of the year. So we're expecting this to also launch at the same time as the others in about 15 days or so. Like I said, you'll all receive an email tomorrow. You'll also get regular communications about these tests. So if you have questions or you want to dig further into it, we are going to do a training for each of them in these upcoming weeks with Ben Viola, our Director of Education, so that you can have a really deep understanding. I would try to go into it, but I might kind of butcher some of this. You'll sit more at the business side of the table. I have just enough to maybe be a little bit dangerous with it, but Ben will do some beautiful trainings on this so that you have a really good understanding. And many of you have possibly worked with Ben on some of his Thursday trainings that he does. And he does a great job educating. He's a really, really good communicator. One of the other things that we put together for you here, you'll see on the bottom of the detoxification report, and this was also on the methylation and the longevity report, is references are always cited. One of the really important things that we are really just bought into is that there needs to be a supportive piece of research, something that's giving us reason. When you start looking at genetics and the importance of genetics, whether it be from looking at a prevention model, which is what we kind of work in preventative medicine, you still want to have an understanding as to, hey, why this particular gene? And so we have all of the citations from the genes. The print's a little small for me to see it there, but it looks like there's probably, 15, 20, 25 citations there for you to pull on. You can, copy that, put it into your browser and take a look and read a little bit there. It's also nice because many of those research reports also gives you the nutrients that work well within certain areas. If maybe it's in, the methylation side, it might be choline, or it might be betaine, or in detoxification, it could be, a different nutrient. Maybe it's a magnesium that's needed, something like that. So there's a lot of really good information there as well. So those are the 3 new tests that are going to be coming out here in just a couple of weeks. Like I said, we're really excited about these. The actual process of registering these kits is going to be the same kit that you use now. We're developing and working in the platform so that we can have you just register and choose which of the tests that you want run on that sample that you take. So if it's the comprehensive test, it's the same swab. If they want to do just methylation, it'll be the same swab. We're trying to make it very streamlined. In our first version of the beta test, again, we want to make sure this works perfectly by the time we bring this out to you. I think from there, we just want to make sure that we can work with that. Don't want to put 100% promise on it, but I think the small little glitches or so forth that I saw in the early phase, I think we're going to be able to work through those, so it'll be nice and easy and streamlined, so there's not changes for you as far as registering kits. So it'll be very, very familiar to you. Just to kind of go back really quick to the beginning where I mentioned that we're merging with another company. It's going to open up some things. We'll be at more events, IFM, etc. And so we'll probably see you out there on the road a little bit. It will change, like I said, the sales reps that you have will be in different capacities. We have a couple people, or one from Texas and one from Carolinas. That's going to be in our education department. Another will be helping to develop protocols. So there'll be a little bit more run rather than by a territory is going to be through our company. So communication will all go in right now to our company. Melissa Bellis is our administrator who's running this webinar for us right now. Melissa, if you want to maybe put your phone number for the office in there, not your personal number, but the office number into the chat, that would be great. So people can take note of that if you'd like. It's also going to be on all of the communications that come out. So if you don't get this, as well as her email, if you have questions regarding registering a kit, getting a sample report, things like that, that will come in through her, and then she'll be able to get it into the right department. As we go through a little bit of this transition with this merger of bringing some other folks into the organization. Yes, I saw the question pop up there about sample reports. Sample reports will go out in tomorrow's email as well for each of these 3 new tests. So you'll get a chance to see it. They're much more condensed. If you're used to that 115 to 120 page report that comes out, this will be much more condensed, between 12 and 24 pages or so. Still terrific, information talking about average priority versus high priority. Really easy to read where you need to support particular areas in kind of going deep into the quality of these tests. Just kind of want to wrap up with this, and then if we have any questions, feel free to ask. But Gene by Gene is the laboratory that we use. They use next generation sequencing. Again, you probably know most of this. One of the things that really drew me to start this business was the privacy within genetic testing. Gene by Gene, the affiliates, we don't sell your information, we don't sell your clients' information, it doesn't get rented, etc. Privacy is very important to us, that it is, your customers, genetic property. There's 3 firewalls that we go through to ensure that, when the cheek swab arrives, it goes through one firewall where it's unpacked, it's assigned a kit number, and then it passes through to the lab to actually be run. And then when it pairs up with the reporting side of it, it's a number, and that's where a name gets placed back onto it before it goes into our Nucleus portal. And that's just the general overview of kind of how our particular system there works. But privacy is something that's very important to us. I know it's important to you all as well as to your patients and to your clients. I kind of teased everyone with an epigenetic test in the beginning. So this is still in development, but it's a very exciting type thing that we're working on. Part of this merger will help open this up. There's another lab here in the United States that we are working with. This would end up being a blood spat test. So you would do a finger prick, apply it to a card, and send it in. And with that, we are able to look at the genetic makeup and cross-reference into 50, 60, 70 different nutrients, and to see how that will have an effect on certain genes. The nice part about this is it can be repeated. So as you're working with someone, if you recommend based upon their comprehensive tests that they take zinc and choline and something else, you then can test them in another 120 days and see how well they're improving. So it's actually kind of like what you would look at, like maybe with hemoglobin A1C within blood work, and see the process of the genetic switch being turned on and off. And it's truly amazing, great stuff. And 2 studies were just completed this year, one at Johns Hopkins and one at Harvard Medical, with this organization that we're partnering with. And so we're really excited about that as well. The other one that we're working on, so one is going to be on metabolites and looking at those particular nutrients. But then we're also going to look at a system age. Again, all in preventative medicine, but it gives you an idea of, hepatic, my liver function, if I'm maybe 50, is it at 40? Is it at 52? Where is it? And then, every year, if you were to check that, hey, how did I do this year? Did I improve a little bit? Did I slow my aging process genetically, et cetera? And as of right now, we have about 12 different areas that we're looking at. Some of the bigger ones that people obviously are going to be interested in are, cognitive around APOE, also cardiovascular around CBS and some others within homocysteine, and many others as well. So I'm just teasing you with you guys with that, but we are looking to add things to our makeup of test. We think that this will be really, really well received. And do we have any questions from anyone? You're welcome to type it in, and if not, I understand that sometimes people don't want to hop on and kind of ask the question, but putting into chat would be great. Or Rachel's sample test, yeah, those will go out tomorrow for you, so you'll see those. And if anybody has questions, feel free, you can unmute and just ask. And like I said, we'll send out the recording from this year as well. And if not, watch your emails. We'll be staying in touch as we transition to a new Reveal My DNA. Like I said, stays the same. The website stays the same. All of that. We'll just have a new secondary website as well that we'll be working with. So, all right, you guys, that kind of wraps up for today. Doesn't look like we have any other questions. So thank you all for joining. I know my 15 to 20 minutes went to 26. So bear with me on that. And you guys all have a terrific day, and we look forward to working with you. Take care.